So hey guys, it's your boy, Carl Anthony, the average man with a master plan, and I want to respond to a great question that I got from one of my subs on my TikTok. He asked me about four things: Veterans Affairs, welfare reform, weapons, and the war on drugs. And we're going to talk about that. So let's talk about the VA affairs situation, our veterans. Three issues that's going on with veterans in America that most people don't know about. Did you know that 30% of all homeless people are veterans? Yeah, the guys that have put their life on the line for us don't have a place to stay. That is something we need to resolve, and one of my solutions for that is we have tons of abandoned military bases all around the country, completely empty, completely unused. We could house them there, and not only house them, but give people jobs, fellow Americans, to service those men. So not only would it help with the homeless issue, it would help with jobs in America. That's a great solution there. A second issue that I have learned that most military people that return from war, return from abroad have, 30% of all soldiers come back with a PTSD mental issue, and then they're dumped back into the country. You may notice on the news, you may notice a lot of people that have incidents with the police are ex-military people, most likely ones that are either homeless or have a mental issue that is not being addressed. So we have to get easy access, not just to our veterans, but to all Americans, using programs like Teladoc. For example, I've been blessed enough to have it through my job, and in 20 minutes I can get a real doctor or even a mental therapist on the phone to talk to me, check out what's wrong with me, get me right, and it would save the embarrassment of having to walk in and say, hey, I need to talk to a therapist. These are military guys, a lot of pride. They don't just tell you stuff willingly. You gotta give them a chance to do some things with respect and dignity. Return that respect and dignity, return the opportunity, and we can fix those mental health cares and solve a lot of problems that are going on with our ex-military. The last thing I'm hearing from a lot of my ex-soldiers is the VA hospital is trash, according to them. Now, I don't know what the specifics are because every person I talk to has a different issue in scheduling, timing, services, the things they go through, but there's clearly a need for a full reform of VA hospital processes, and that's one of the things I'm going to focus on as a presidential candidate, and definitely once I am president, a prime concern to take care of that. Another issue that people are having is with welfare. Many conservatives and some Democrats feel as though welfare has gone too far. It's hurting the country to a point. Now, it's not the reason we're 33 trillion in debt. It's not the reason the country is falling apart, but it is a factor, along with many other circumstances. One of the things I've noticed and known personally is I know people that have been on welfare for 30 and 40 years. Multiple generations on welfare. And that is telling me that we are not doing stuff to get them off of welfare. And the one thing I noticed, I've never heard about a job training program that they were retired to do. So what I want to do is include job training as a requirement for welfare. So it's okay that you don't have a job. It's okay that you need welfare. But we need some required job training so you can be uplifted out of that circumstance. My goal is to get people out of the welfare system between 5 and 20 years. Even though 20 is long, sometimes you may need it during your child's whole life. About 18 years is the child of a life. So I can understand why you may need 10 or 20 years to get yourself together. But after 10 or 15 years, there's something going on while you're still on welfare, and I think it's the lack of training and the lack of access and resources that are available for people to grow out of where they came from. The next was weapons concerns. Now, we've heard about the recent issue at Michigan State with the gentleman attacking people. We've heard about these mass shootings all over the country. And what is going on here is we don't need to fix guns. We need to fix America. America has lost the promise to the average person. Get a job, buy a house, have a family, take care of your kids, no problem, right? Well, due to inflation and the spreading of our sources around the world, we no longer have that availability. For an American, it's frustrating people. We don't have the easy access to health care or mental health care, so people can't resolve issues, and then they tend to react inappropriately with weaponry. Now, we definitely want better background checks. We definitely want to make sure we keep an eye on anybody stashing and stocking large amounts of weapons for safety purposes. But we also need to make sure we deal with unregistered guns. This is one of the things that's really getting us, because the good gun owner, the legal registered gun owner, is typically not doing these shootings. It's typically an unregistered person with an illegal weapon. I think it's time we up the limits for time on people who are doing crimes with unregistered illegal weapons. Make the crime harder, people say, hey, maybe it's not such a good idea. So these are the kind of things I want to fix, and fix the economy, fix the healthcare issue, return the promise of America, and bring back manufacturing. We'll deal with the trade issue, but that's a whole nother conversation. Lastly, the war on drugs, which pretty much was officially started back in the 80s by Ronald Reagan and his whole administration. Now, if you know anything about the Iran-Contras, there's a TV show on now called Snowfall. A gentleman named Rick Ross that is very famous. For some reason, we were bringing drugs into the country and selling it to them cheap so we could do wars in other countries. We have actually participated in this. And instead of treating it like it's a mental issue or a health issue, we've just made it all criminal. Now we are shifting similar to, from the opioid crisis, to understand that it's more of a mental issue. And I think that's something we need to do for all drugs. We need to decriminalize all drugs that have medicinal purposes. So everything shouldn't be on Schedule 1. Did you know when things are on Schedule 1, that means colleges can't study it? Now, there's a lot of benefits to some of these medicinal use drugs that we can't even take advantage of because they're on Schedule 1, along with horrible things like meth and just the created stuff. And we're going to keep that the way it is, but we need rehab centers, we need to decriminalize, we need to get better mental health care and better opportunities out there for Americans. And a lot of these issues are linked when you think about them all across the board. Fixing money things will fix almost all of these things. So those are my response to that question, and I hope that helps out a lot about what I'm thinking and what my plans are to do as I move forward in time when you guys eventually vote me in for president. So thanks for listening. Carl Anthony, the man with the master plan. Love you guys. Have a good one.